Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Gains for Girls podcast. I hope that you're watching on youtube.com/OutKick. All things Gains for Girls can be found there. You can like, subscribe, comment. Please comment. We read every single one. Your engagement means the world. As I said, be sure to subscribe. We've got some exciting things for the show moving forward, different kinds of content that we're going to be putting out more frequently at that. So never, ever miss an episode. Today we are joined by a woman. She's been on the show before, actually. This is a woman who I really believe that her courage and her conviction have reshaped the national conversation on life, on dignity, on the protection of women and children. Her name is Lila Rose. She is the founder and president of Live Action, which is one of the most influential pro-life organizations in the world. We talked about her story, how she started Live Action when she was on the episode or on the show before. Look, she started this mission as a teenager with nothing but like sheer passion and like a willingness, I guess, to expose the truth. And today, her investigative work, her advocacy, her storytelling. She's been on Jubilee and debated the position of the sanctity of life. These clips and these interactions, her stories, they've reached hundreds of millions of people. She's a best-selling author. She's a mom. She's a relentless advocate for the voiceless. And I think she's someone who understands the stakes of culture and politics and policy better than almost anyone. She knows what it means to stand firm in the face of backlash, to lead with compassion, and to speak boldly, even when it's not very popular. So, honored to have her here to talk about the fight to protect women and girls, the future of the pro life movement, and she has some advice for young women out there. Stay tuned. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Gains for Girls podcast. Well, Lila, thank you for joining the Gains for Girls podcast. It is always just like the biggest joy to talk to you. Obviously, what you fight for, what you stand for, but just you as a person, like your demeanor, like how sweet and how kind you are. And we were talking prior to clicking record about my beautiful baby and how amazing she's been. And I feel like honestly indebted to you. And so I just wanted to say thank you for fighting for her future, for tons of little girls and boys out there like her. So just very, very grateful for you and your efforts for the past, I mean, a long time. You've been doing this a really, really long time, far before it was cool. I think we're hopefully reaching a stage now where the topics that we find ourselves talking about, like, it is more mainstream, but you were doing it before that. So thank you very, very much.
That's so sweet, Riley. Well, I admire you so much. I'm so excited for not just the impact you make in the world, but the impact you're now making as the mom to your little girl. I hope she makes an appearance. I don't know. I know you're sharing some photos, but it's also, privacy. But I'm so happy for you, and you're amazing. You're already back at it, and she's only 8 weeks, right? She's brand new.
She's brand new. I know. When do they like become is she still a newborn at 8 weeks, or is it 12 weeks? Like, when do they stop
She's a
being, like,
newbie.
technically a newborn?
I think after 3 months you can start to say they start chunking up more and everything. But that baby's brand new.
Okay. I know. I feel like she'll be a newborn until she's, like, 18 to me.
I
Like,
know.
it
She'll
breaks my
always be
heart. I
a
look at
baby.
her, she's growing so much already, and her face, like, changes all the time, and she's just now reached the point where she'll, like, look at you and, like, intentionally smile, and, oh my gosh, like, it melts your heart like nothing I've ever seen or encountered before. It just totally, I mean, humbles you like right there in your tracks. Like, oh my gosh, like everything I've ever done has led to this moment of this little bitty, 12-pound baby smiling at me. So it's magical.
Pure
Um,
magic.
yes. Okay. Lots of things to discuss and talk about. The first thing I wanted to mention, I saw this on your X account actually. Uh, the Ohio House just recently passed a bill, and it's called the Baby Olivia Act. I believe in Ohio it was HB 485.
Mm.
It was introduced by Representative Melanie
Yep.
Miller. Basically, what this bill would do is amend several sections of the Ohio Revised Code to require public schools to include instruction on human growth and development. So basically, it shows like a single celled human to then growing to a baby with a beating heart, with brain waves, with fingers, with toes. The baby's name is Olivia. And again, it shows the remarkable beauty of unique life within the womb. And so I wanted to ask you, I mean, to me, this seems like early education around human life, conception, fetal development, and it seems to align with like pro-life values of protecting the unborn. Is that right?
Yes, we could not be more excited about this legislation in Ohio. There's already 6 other states, including the great state of Tennessee and others, that have passed this kind of legislation, baby Olivia bills. But this is something Live Action's been working on our side of it, is helping create the content. We created Baby Olivia, I think it's been over 5 years now. Lifelike, medically accurate depiction, like you were describing so beautifully, of the development of the baby, starting from that single cell embryo, heart beating at 3.5 weeks, brain waves at 7 weeks, on and on. And you just see this incredible development in this photo like imagery. And now, in public school curriculum standards, these different lawmakers are making sure that the students in their state have access to medically accurate, lifelike imagery of every human being's earliest beginnings. And what's so amazing about this, first of all, this should already be taught. The fact that they have to make these standards is a tragedy in my view, because this should already be taught. If you're going to be teaching human biology, if you're going to be teaching science, of course you should be teaching that life doesn't begin at birth. Life begins at the moment of fertilization, when a new embryo comes into existence. So these states are mandating that, and they can use Baby Olivia from Live Action. They can really use any content, provided it's medically accurate and lifelike. It's photorealistic. And this way, a whole generation of students are going to get to see the humanity of the baby in the womb. And what's so amazing is, if Ohio passes this law, which it looks like they will, that's over 3.5 million public school students combined that are going to see the humanity of the baby, starting from some of them as young as kindergarten. So we couldn't be more thrilled.
That's amazing. So kindergarten, is that standard? Is that when is I guess the bill, is that when it's drafted to be shown to these kids? Is there a certain age
It
range that you guys have seen to be most successful?
It depends on the state. So some states are requiring it through all grades, so that each year, whenever you're introducing, it has to be age appropriate in the topic of, we're going to learn about the human body, or we're going to learn about science, or whatever it is. But in each grade, some states are requiring you need to re-up this same lesson plan of talking about human biology and the development of the human child. There's a book out that Live Action is releasing called I'm a Baby, Watch Me Grow. And it's basically it's a board book. It's for children in preschool even could look at it. It's beautiful. It's illustrated, the life in the womb from the moment of fertilization. So it's age appropriate really for any age. There's nothing about, obviously, sex or creating new life. It's really about how new life develops in the womb. And I think whether you're just requiring it for high school students, I think that's great too. But I do love when they require it for elementary school students, because I think little kids should get to learn this too, and they're fascinated by it.
Well, I love this, especially hearing this is going to be shown to, third graders, fourth graders, fifth graders. And I make that point because the other side, those who are teaching, kind of the contrary to these positions, and I mean, biological reality, actually, uh, they don't have an age range that they're not willing to target, right? They're starting as young as preschool and kindergarten. Therefore, I think it's necessary that we have information that we can help show these children too. So this is incredible. And I think the benefits of seeing videos like this, I have, in working with Live Action and other pregnancy groups and that sort of thing, understanding the push for pregnant women or those who are maybe considering abortion to see the ultrasound, to get at least one ultrasound appointment and look at that baby on a screen, like on the monitor. When I had, you go in for the 8-week appointment, you hear the heartbeat for the first time, you go in for the 20-week appointment, the anatomy scan, like, I've always been pro-life, but even still in that moment, like, it felt like I was instantly radically pro-life. When you see the feet and you see the hands and the cutest little side profile and her little button nose, and I'll never forget at the 20-week appointment, baby girl wasn't playing ball and she had her back turned, and they were able to tell me in that moment, like, she has a lot of hair. Like, it almost even still could fill me with tears, because you realize you get to visually see this is a human being. So I love this and I think it's incredible. And thank you guys for really spearheading the effort. Do you have other states that you guys are really targeting to pass similar legislation?
It's being considered right now in 19 other states. So
Fantastic.
the vision here is every single student in America should have access to photorealistic, medically accurate obviously scientifically accurate information about human life's earliest beginnings. And you mentioned, Riley, you're spot on. There is such an agenda in our school system today to ultimately brainwash children towards leftist causes. We see this around the transgender issue, of course, and sexuality issues. They're having little kids in kindergarten hold rainbow flags and say love is love and pick their pronouns. So there's absolutely an agenda to brainwash our children. This is a counter movement to actually tell our children the truth and give them the best science-based evidence of when life begins, as well as give them an opportunity to appreciate and really celebrate the human value. I mean, what's more important for a child to learn than the value of human life, their life included, right? And so it's such a beautiful tool. And I couldn't be more excited that this is public schools, right? This is also in some private schools that are adopting it themselves, but this is public schools. And I think, with the battle that we're in for our generation and for our culture, if we just say, oh, the public school system has gone to hell in a handbasket, our children are doomed, just homeschool them. Okay, I agree with that, by the way. Like, I agree that we should homeschool as much as we can, those families that can, but there's still tens of millions of children in public schools and they matter. We should care about how they're being educated. And of course we do. So let's get some better standards going for curriculum in our public schools so that kids have a shot.
I love this. There was a Wall Street Journal article, actually, that I participated in, that came out just earlier this week. Uh, According to sociologists, I believe his name is Samuel Perry, there's a large gap in childbearing. I think it's 75% of liberal women age 18 to 35 are childless, and you compare that with about 40% of women who are conservative. The Wall Street Journal, in this article, it reported that a growing number of young conservative women are choosing to prioritize family early in their lives. So, what this means is, of course, getting married, having children in their 20s, instead of following kind of the more common career first, kids later, girl boss path. Uh, you can compare that to this. I think there's a Telegraph headline that we have in here that says, "Why midlife divorce is good for you as long as you're a woman." So I wanted to ask you, like, are you sensing a shift among young people, but I think more specifically among young women, to get married young and have children?
Yeah, so there's 100% a shift. Here's the shift. The shift isn't yet that the numbers are in our favor in terms of young women waking up to the reality of my life is not just about me and about girl bossing. My life is about purpose and relationships, and marriage is the best thing that most people can do, right? This side of heaven, right? So there aren't enough people waking up to that, but there are more people waking up to that. A decade or two ago, that was seen as so antiquated, right? A decade or two ago, if you were sort of a smart woman out there, you were saying, "Oh, my goal is to be as successful as possible and to climb whatever corporate ladder and do life on my own terms." That's empowerment, and also abortion is empowerment too, which is absolutely disgusting, right? Now, at least, Riley, there is a counter narrative, thanks to you, thanks to folks like, I know the article featured the wonderful Isabel Brown and so many other young women out there who are saying, no, life is not just about me and what I want to do in terms of like making money. I mean, is that really what the human person's whole identity and purpose is? Of course not. The greatest joy in life is found through relationship. It's found through sacrifice and love. And there's no better place to do that for most people than marriage and having children. And so there's this whole generation of women waking up and rejecting modern feminism and saying, no, 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 no. We don't want to just climb corporate ladders and be like men in the workplace and like go and compete and just be, boss babes. We believe in love. We believe in marriage, and we believe in having children.
I have young women, college age women, who reach out to me all the time, seeing now that I've started my family. We post this on social media, and they'll reach out and they say, like, how do you balance both? And I don't feel like I have a super eloquent answer to this, other than the fact that I just do. I think my career, obviously, it's not overly conventional in the sense that I'm not in an office every day, and so I do agree there's like some flexibility there that maybe allows me to have both a career, both a family. But do you have a good response to women who ask the question, like, can we do both of these things?
Yes, I think you can do both. You can both use your skills and develop yourself professionally to not only make money for your family and to help your family and other people, but also to develop your talents to give them back to the world. And you can raise a family and put your kids first. I do think it's possible to do both. Does that mean you can do any career and every career and also be a successful mom? Not necessarily in other people's terms, no. There are some careers and there are some employers that are not going to be friendly to your family. And so I actually strongly encourage women before they have kids and before they get married to be very intentional about the kind of careers that they may be building and professional skills that they're developing, because the end game shouldn't be, oh, just climb the corporate ladder to get as high as I can get. The end game should be, okay, what do I feel called to? Oh, probably marriage and kids. So how can I make sure that the professional choices I'm making now are setting myself up for flexibility, right? Are setting myself up to work with institutions, or maybe I'm a freelancer or I'm an entrepreneur, so I can set my own schedule, or I have a boss or employer that's going to be very family friendly. Because at the end of the day, when you're a wife and a mother, your first priority is wife and mother. It's not
That's it.
boss.
That's it.
And that's a mind shift, because modern feminism has taught women that actually their top priority is boss, weirdly, and killing babies and whatever other nonsense has been shoved down our throats, right? So it's a mindset shift, but I do think women can set themselves up for success if they get really intentional about how they live their lives from a young age. And the other thing, Riley, that I think is so key for young women is to be open to love, because I do think a lot of young women think, oh, I'm going to settle down later, right? I'm going to wait. I'm going to settle down later. And maybe God won't send the man you're supposed to marry until later. That happens for a lot of women. I didn't get married till I was 30, right? I was still open to love, but I didn't get married till I was 30. But to be open to love, I think, is key. Instead of being like, no, I'm just going to put my blinders on and just do me and do my life, you might miss out on a lifetime of love if you operate that way.
Yeah, I love that. That's good for me to hear, honestly, because I mean, I feel everything that you're saying, and I wholeheartedly agree. But it's kind of been hard for me to like structure an answer around this, other than like, yes, you can. I do. So this is really helpful even for me. Next thing I want to ask you about or talk to you about. There's a woman running for the 7th congressional district for Congress here in Tennessee. Her name is Aftyn. I'm sure you've seen some clips and visuals of her on social media. Every single video that has resurfaced, like it's amazing to me because each one she becomes really more and more insufferable. I'm amazed we haven't seen these videos sooner. Like some of them are surfacing from like 2019, 2020. I've got one here I want to show you really quick. She talks about having a dream. Let's watch this really, really briefly.
My therapist always asks me to transcribe my dreams when they happen, and the recurring dream I've had is standing up in a cafeteria full of women. I don't know why I was there or whatever, and saying, I don't want children, I want power, and just screaming it at the top of my lungs. And for someone who grew up with my mother telling me never have kids because you'll have to give up a lot, you'll have to sacrifice professionally, but also the deeply patriarchal structures that these women are involved with because they've chosen marriage and they've chosen to raise children. And I think in the South it's incredibly difficult to shake those, especially if you've grown up here and that's all you've been told is the definition of success. The metric of success is how many kids you have, the bigger the square footage of your house, and where your kids go to school.
So she has dreams, recurring dreams about screaming in a cafeteria where she wants power, not children. She talks about the ramifications of women having children, these patriarchal structures. I mean, Lila, like, what in the world is she even really talking about? She sounds like a sociopath.
And this person's running for office. I do not elect someone to office who has dreams about screaming power in a cafeteria.
Right?
I mean, what's public service for? Public service, it's to serve. It's not to have power and lord it over other people. So, I mean, there's so much wrong with what we just heard, Riley. I think most people listening are probably chuckling, but the reality is there are a whole swath of women today who were bottle fed this from a young age, right? She's claiming she was actually told by society that the patriarchy and getting married was the way to go. But then she says her mother told her to never have kids. So even what she's saying doesn't make sense, because These are contradictory messages. She was raised to hate children, it sounds like, which is so tragic, right? She was raised, it sounds like, to hate men, which is also so tragic. A lot of women are being raised that way. That is an objective fact in my view. Single parent households definitely has there's some consequences from that, but it's also just a societal message in the last few decades that men are not your friend and that having children are a burden. And those are both lies. And she's going to be miserable if she keeps believing those lies.
Well, I think it's very clear. And again, every video, every comment, every quote, every tweet she's put out the past, from what I've seen, I mean, 6 years at this point, like she does very much seem miserable. And you make a really good point too. Like, it was her mother telling her child not to have kids because I mean, she hates children. Children will ruin her life. Again, she's telling that to her own child. Like, I can't imagine my mom telling me something like that. Like how I would feel if my mom said, don't have kids, kids will ruin your life, as her kid. That is crazy. One more video I want to play of her really, really quickly, talking about women being birthers.
And as an activist, like, we really have an opportunity here in this country to talk about what type of progressive policies we want to see as young women. And I think we have, as birther, as women who can give birth, men and women who can give birth, we could maybe leverage that as collective bargaining, which is the basis of this book that I've just started reading, but called Birth Strike, and how we can really leverage collective bargaining when it comes to having children in this country. And so, for example, like, I'm not going to give birth until the United States government concedes ABCD. What do you think about that?
It seems a little much.
Is it?
Okay, so first of all, like, again, calling women birthers, actually both men and women, she clarifies that very quickly because she doesn't want to be seen as a bigot. She uses the word birthers, well, men and women, because they can both give birth. But also, I think more terrifying, like, the content of what she's saying. Foregoing childbirth until you get your way with the federal government. Like, number one, good luck with that, I guess. But secondly, like, this just screams of total narcissism and entitlement.
It sounds like Aftyn, ultimately, she's a gender Marxist, because what she believes is that everything in life is a power struggle. She had the dream about wanting power in the cafeteria. And right here, what she's saying is her whole vision is, if I'm going to have a baby, then I'm giving you something. That's my contribution economically, I guess, or culturally. So you have to give me something in return. Everything is a bargain. Everything is a power struggle. And everything is a war between the sexes. And this is the way to destroy a society. Marxism, we know, destroys cultures and economies. And gender Marxism, being a war between men and women endlessly, is a way to completely deteriorate all relationships between the sexes to the point of bitter feuds and war. And so that vision that she's sharing is one that is just a downward spiral. And I mean, you're in Tennessee, right? Is she going to win? I mean, does this lady even have a chance? I don't know. What do you think, Riley?
Oh my gosh. I am, like, in prayer. I'm doing everything I can, like, on the get out the vote efforts. Like, it is amazing to me, number one, that this is even the Democratic Party's nominee. Like, I'm looking at this woman and all the videos and clips and quotes and tweets and things. How is this their best candidate? Like, it is so shocking. But I think with the state of Tennessee and Nashville and the way that it's becoming, given the fact that we have so many people fleeing here from blue states, and ironically enough, voting the exact same way that they did to make them flee their blue states, we will see. I would encourage everyone, if you're listening to this and you live in the Nashville area, get out and vote for Matt Van Epps. She talks about how there's other clips of Aftyn saying she hates Nashville, she hates the city, the bachelorette parties, the pedal taverns, all the things that make Nashville Nashville. If she hates it so much, it is a Democrat-run city. We have a Democrat mayor. The entire Metro Council is blue. Every state representative in Davidson County is a Democrat. If she wants a change so badly, maybe she should consider voting for Matt Van Epps. Last thing I wanted to bring up with you, you have done such a fantastic job in being outspoken about the effects of pornography on young men, more broadly, of course, how it's destroying our society as a whole. We saw this headline recently. A father who left his 2-year-old daughter to die in the car. Of course, it was hot outside. She passed away in the car because he was distracted by pornography. Can you just speak to very briefly the effects of this, some of the statistics that you have? I see you
Yeah.
put them out there, and how this is effectively destroying our society.
Oh my goodness. I saw that story, Riley, and I was so devastated to see that. It was just heartbreaking. He's looking at explicit material where his daughter is dying, is literally dying because he is neglecting her. And the reality is, pornography is pernicious for both men and women. This is not increasingly women. Now, the numbers are saying 30 to 40% of women are watching porn sometime on a monthly basis. So now women are increasingly getting hooked on pornography as well as men. That's because our country is in this free fall morally when it comes to sexual morality. But when you introduce porn into a marriage, as an example, the divorce rate spikes. Porn is actually listed as the second most common reason for divorce, porn use.
Wow.
The reason we have the breakdown of marriage is because we have porn addiction. That is just a reality. So this idea that porn is somehow helpful for marriages is a complete lie. Porn is also highly addictive. It actually can fire the same neurons that is responsible for getting addicted to drugs like cocaine. That's the kind of effect of it that you need your fix. And so the other issue with porn addiction is that you increasingly need this fix, and you increasingly view more and more disgusting and deranged pornography, including pornography that might be bestiality or even worse, child sexual assault material. There has been a proliferation of child sexual assault material over the last decade. When you learn more about that, it's just absolutely disgusting and heartbreaking. So anybody who tells you that porn is no big deal is lying to you. And it's a big deal for men and for women. And so the message, the answer has to be, I think we need to shut down the porn industry. I'm 100% in favor of banning porn. No, it's not protected under freedom of speech. This is not about freedom of speech. It's not like you're articulating your religious or political positions. You're just exploiting human bodies sexually, right? And you're destroying people's lives and souls. And I think that we need a awakening for true love. I mean, that's the solution to all of this. Put sex back into marriage, celebrate romance again, the war between the sexes. We need to simmer that down and embrace each other and our differences. That is the vision that I see. I know you see. And I do think that vision is coming real every day when people live it. And that's where I'm really hopeful, like what we were talking about earlier. More and more people, I think, are waking up to this, the true view of men and women and their dignity and their complementary ability for each other. And I think that's going to be the future for the country.
100%. We've had people on this show before, one of those being the Attorney General of Missouri, A.G. Bailey, who's done a fantastic job with different restrictions surrounding Pornhub in his state of Missouri, and the list goes on. So in full agreement there. I mean, porn, it destroys intimacy, it clouds judgment, it leaves people feeling totally disconnected from themselves, from their spouse. And I think most importantly is it separates us from our creator, from God. Um, Last thing for you, what would be your advice to young women specifically in this cultural moment and time that we're living in?
That is a great question. Broadly speaking, or you mean to women that are more conservative about how they can make the difference?
I think both. I think
Mhm.
there should be a message to young conservative women, because I think they're being told a couple things right now. You have kind of like the trad wife movement, which is again fantastic, and like the idea of, buying a plot of land, living with your husband, having kids young, homesteading, like all of that is fantastic. It sounds great. I don't know how overly realistic it is for young people to, be able to afford a plot of land or whatever it might be. So I think there's a lot of young conservative women even who are kind of confused. Like, how do I fulfill this? A dream I very much have, maybe strapped with the income situation. How do we do this? So I think honestly, I'd rather hear a message, and I think there's a lot of people who listen to this, young conservative women in this cultural moment.
I think that's such a good point because they are being told mixed messages. And there's also extremes, even on the right, where there's some extremes that are almost like, well, I mean, there's some crazies that are like, repeal the 19th, that go like
Right.
way crazy, right? And some of them, but then, as a backlash to modern feminism, right? It's like, well, the women are the problem. Let's hate on the women now. That'll somehow make everybody happier. But I think the core for conservative women is this: hold on to your values and your morals. I think that is what is going to transform the future of the country. Put love first. And I know economically it is really hard. I know men are having the same struggle. A lot of men are asking themselves, how can I provide in this economy? But I think there's still so many opportunities. We have so many freedoms. We have so much security that people would die for. Literally, they would risk their lives for the opportunity to live in this country still, right? They come, look at our border. They're flooding across the border for an opportunity to live here, just to have the opportunities we have. So make the most of them. There's a way to make it in this world. Find that, be open to love, get married if you are blessed to find that one, be open to children, have them even before you feel you can afford them. You don't need to have the 2,000 square foot house and the white picket fence to start a family. You can start a family with very little even, and you can make a beautiful life of it, and then you can build together. And don't be afraid. I think that's my final message, is that I do think there's a lot of fear of what the future holds, fear of even having children, fear economically. Don't live in fear. That's no way to live. God meets us where we're at. He's going to be there for you. Be open to love and be open to life.
100%. I could not agree more. Thank you, Lila. I appreciate you and everything. I hope that I'll get to see you soon. You are just a force, and I'm incredibly grateful to know you and to call you a friend. So, gonna continue championing you. We've got 19 states to continue to put pressure on surrounding the Baby Olivia Act. So thank you, and thanks to Live Action for everything you guys are doing.
Thank you, Riley. You're amazing. I'm a huge fan, and I'm so excited for everything that you're doing. Thank you for being who you are, such a leader for the fight for girls and for just the country. And congrats again on baby. So happy for
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you guys for joining the Gains for Girls podcast. As always, we appreciate you. Be sure to follow Lila, everything that she's doing. Be sure to look up Live Action. Really, really influential stuff. Again, they're doing a lot of investigative journalism and reporting, uncovering different states, different organizations that are not abiding by federal law. Important stuff. Appreciate you guys. Again, subscribe at youtube.com/OutKick, and we will see you guys again next week.